We have a preview card from March of the Machine to share with you, and we're going to build an entire Commander deck around it.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy. That makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, and we got to give a special shout out for Wizards giving us this card in the first place. Super excited about it.
Yes, thank you so much for giving us this preview card to spoil to the world. You will be the first ones to see it now watching this video, so guess what? Get hype. And without any cut, for Tandem Takedown, perfectly transitioned. I am amazing. Tandem Takedown is a brand new card. It's amazing. It's an instant, and it costs 1 green. Up to 2 target creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. They each deal damage equal to their power to another target creature, planeswalker, or battle. Now, the first thing you might notice about this card, it's obviously, a nice little removal spell, going to be great and limited, but you might notice the art. You might recognize the art if you read the story. Tandem Takedown is referring to a very specific moment where Luca was torn out of his gross blob body by Vadric. Literally pulled him out of that gross blob body and then, in combination with Vivian, killed him. So, this is the death of Luca.
Yeah, she just plants 3 arrows in his chest, and Vadric just kind of throws his corpse off a volcano or down the volcano.
Okay, so you might notice that this card is what's called a bite effect. So it's very similar to a fight effect. Fight effect says that both targets will deal damage equal to their power to each other. But this is a bite because you don't get dealt damage back. So the creatures are dealing out damage, but they're not taking any. So how can we take advantage of a bite?
Yeah, bites are not the historically strongest commander cards in the world, but we love a challenge. We got to build a whole deck around this thing.
So let's take this card right here, take the whole thing, what we're building the deck for. Let's move it off to the side, maybe over on BZ's side. Maybe I'll have it jump around the screen. Maybe not, probably not. That's a lot of work for no payoff whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, of course, we want the keyword ability, Death Touch. And who better for a Death Touch deck than Finn the Fangbearer, who cares about Death Touch? He wants your deck to be Death Touch tribal.
He gives our opponents poison counters when Death Touch creatures hit them, so he already rewards us for stacking our deck full of Death Touch creatures, and it gives us an excuse to play all the bite effects and some of the fight effects, mostly bites, and we're going to take max advantage. They basically just turn into removal spells.
So we're going to be using things like our Tandem Takedown here to just kill creatures, get them out of our way, and then attack with Finn for that infect victory.
And since specifically with Tandem Takedown we have 2 creatures dealing the damage, I'm more incentivized to give my creatures that already have Death Touch and stuff, I want to give them like lifelink and maybe other abilities to gain a bunch of life and see what we can do with that. So this is like the Death Touch lifelink category of like the creatures in our deck.
So first and foremost, we're not going to list them all. We'll just put one on screen. Moss Viper as an example. There are about, 7
or 8.
7 or 8 of these just in the deck.
1/1 Death Touch.
1 mana, 1/1 Death Touch. It's all that matters. It's all we care about. We want small creatures because multiple things we want. 1, we want Death Touch for our Tandem Takedown. Very, very important for the card. And Finn the Fangbearer wants us to curve into him. So we want to play this 1-drop into a 2-drop so we can attack and immediately give 2 poison.
Yeah, they're all like double Glistener Elves that also turn our instants into murders.
And then we need to fill some, normal slots. So like we want Recursion, Skullwinder. Yeah, cut that. Eternal Witness, Skullwinder's got Death Touch.
Oh, don't worry, Eternal Witness is in here too. We got to rebuy Tandem Takedown.
That's very true. It is very important to keep doing that. We also need some removal. Acidic Slime, a card we never say to play. But
this is the only time.
Did you know this thing has Death Touch?
Yeah, and Hornet Queen, because it makes 5 Death Touchers, all with evasion. So by itself, theoretically, it's a KO with Finn out.
It is literally a KO if you have Finn out and hit somebody with all of the hornets that this makes.
Yes, as for Lifelink, Atrax's Skitterfang is a weird one that I never thought I'd put into a deck, but it can give Death Touch or Lifelink, which works perfectly when we're trying to set up a perfect bite. And there's also Scavenge Brawler, which has Lifelink and then will give Lifelink upon death if you pay a bunch of mana to one of our creatures, and then we can bite.
Yeah, and when you're thinking Death Touch, Lifelink, what's the very best creature to do that? Well, it's Wormcoil Legend. Every single time. 6/6 Lifelink, Death Touch, Big Giant Worm, and when it dies, it breaks into a Lifelinker and a Death Toucher.
And now that Amber's here, I can mention Shadow Spear, which can give Lifelink and Trample, and then Basilisk Collar, which is giving Lifelink and Death Touch. It's just everything we want.
It's everything we want in this deck. All right, so let's move on to the bites. Let's pull back our Tandem Takedown. Like, it's right in the middle of the screen. This is a bite. This isn't simply put a bite. So we need other forms of this card. It's obviously the best one. I mean, you're not going to beat Tandem Takedown. That's not possible. It is the greatest card ever printed.
I would say it's pretty much the best bite in this deck at instant speed.
Yes, it is very, very strong. So we're going to put in, we're going to list these pretty fast. I'm going to go over them. Bite Down, Instant Speed, Bite. Master's Rebuke.
Same card.
Same exact card. Literally the same exact card. Ram Through, upside, if your creature's got Trample, it'll trample over with damage. extra good in this deck because all of our creatures have Death Touch. So if you have like a 6/6 Wormcoil Engine that you've given Trample with, say, Shadow Spear, now when you go ahead and use Ram Through, it'll trample over all that extra damage. We also have Band Together, which is just like Tandem Takedown, but it's one less green mana instead of generic mana in its place, and they do the same exact thing where they deal the damage together. Tandem Takedown, the best one on the deck. It's not even close. I don't even have to tell you what it does. Everybody knows it by now. It's a staple of Commander.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're already calling for a ban, I would say. We also have Kamal's Will, which everybody forgot was ever printed. It makes all your creatures bite something, but it's a lot of mana.
So if we give all of our creatures lifelink, we'll gain life equal to the amount of power we have on the battlefield.
And kill something. And one of the better ones now that we're at sorcery speed, and we can go slower and more clunky, Spinning Wheel Kick. I would like Finn the Fangbearer to do a spinning wheel kick on all of my opponent's creatures, please, and then kill them all.
There's infinite hilarious creatures to make do a spinning wheel kick.
Scorpion?
Sedge Scorpion? Yep, hilarious. At least
even Hornet Queen.
At least that thing has 6 legs. How about Fanga Shigeki? It's a snake.
Yeah.
It doesn't have legs.
Moss Viper.
How do you do a spinning wheel kick with no legs? Absolutely hilarious. I mean, and also I just want to point out, let's move back to Tandem Takedown for at least 1 second. Let's have any of these things team up. It's hilarious, right?
I mean, most of it's like 2 snakes. That seems pretty reasonable.
It's like, all right, we need to take this big giant, like, all right, let's just say the Ur-Dragon.
Well, here's what you got to do is you got to pretend that one of them always holds the target in their mouth and the other one always shoots arrows at it.
So the snake, of course, wraps around the Ur-Dragon, the little tiny Moss Viper.
Yeah.
And then shooting the bow and arrow, Sedge Scorpion.
Yes, Sedge Scorpion, firing the bow and arrow. Thanks, Vivian, for the assist, providing the weaponry. There's also Monstrous Onslaught. It wants us to have one big creature, and then it divides a bunch of damage. So if we have like a 4/4 Death Touch, it just destroys 4 creatures.
Yeah, exactly. Our Wormcoil Engine going to destroy 6 different creatures. Going to be awesome. We have Vivian, Arcbow Ranger.
Hey, there's Vivian.
Yeah, she's here. She's doing her thing. Look, there she is on Tandem Takedown. Look,
she does a bite.
She do a bite with her minus ability. See, they were already prepared for this. Also, Tandem Takedown literally has a bite in it. I didn't even think about that. It's literally biting down in the art.
Sorry, Luca, but no one likes you. Helana Keswick Ranger, also a card people forget about. All our creatures have Death Touch, so whenever they enter, we can pay 2 extra mana and just kill something.
To bite, yeah. You every time a creature enters the battlefield, pay 2, get a bite. That's actually a pretty powerful effect.
If it said pay 2, destroy a creature, that's a real good card.
Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, pay 2 mana, destroy target creature. Yep, that's amazing. All right, let's get some bite synergy. So we're playing all these bites. They target our creatures very, very importantly. So Venerated Rot Priest. All right, whenever one of our creatures becomes a target of a spell, we're going to go ahead and give them a poison, which already works for their deck as Finn the Fangberry. And on top of that, Tandem Takedown, targeting 2 of our creatures. Extra synergy.
You thought that we were done and that our bite deck was mediocre, and this brings it all together. Venerated Rot Priest is one of the best cards in this whole deck. We also have Season of Growth. Our creatures entering Scry 1. Whenever we target them, we draw a card. So now we're targeting a bunch of things at once, and we're just drawing cards off of it. Like every one of our murders are now cantripping.
Oh yeah, Seasons of Growth is literally probably one of the literal best cards in this entire deck.
Yeah, and it's right up there with Livewire Lash. You couldn't tell me what that did right now if I paid you, but it says when our creature becomes a target of a spell, the creature deals 2 damage to something, which is lethal damage to something.
Yes, and very, very similar to that, we have Viridian Longbow. Equip it, and now it can tap to deal damage to something. Oh, wait a minute. All of our creatures have Death Touch. The creature's dealing the damage.
Thornbite Staff is going to just turn all our creatures into machine guns, and it says basically pay 2, destroy a creature.
I mean, okay. How is this not going to make the deck? Thorn, bite.
It's in the name.
Come on.
Here's what it does.
And the best thing to do in this whole entire deck. It is sad that it doesn't work with the best one, Tandem Takedown. But we have to deal, okay? Isochron Scepter, any one of our bites. All right. Doomblade every turn for free.
Imprinting Master's Rebuke. And by for free, we mean for the exact same cost. 2 mana every time. You're really going to feel like you're getting away with something when you do that.
Yeah. And then a couple of mini synergies. Doesn't work with all the bites, but it works with some of the bites, like our first.
Tandem Takedown, the best one in the deck.
The big Tandem Takedown, the best one in the deck. Stuffy Doll, put it on the battlefield, have our biggest creatures deal damage to Stuffy Doll, and then deal it to actual people's faces. You usually can't bite people's faces. Now you can.
It's frowned upon. It's like poor sportsmanship, but we don't care.
This is poor sportsmanship to bite people's faces. We have Stuffy Doll bite their faces for us.
Yes. And then Hornet Nest, this card sucks. Except it's like randomly perfect for us. Not only does it want to be dealt damage, which we can easily do, it makes Death Touchers. How is this not like, this feels custom made for this deck, even though this is from like M12.
Yeah, it's from like 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
All right, then we got a little more coolness. All right, Tovsky, Bearer of Secrets. We want to draw cards. Let's get in. All of our creatures have Death Touch. They're not very blockable as it is.
Good luck with that. Toski also can have Death Touch when we equip it or something.
Exactly. We also have Orin, Frostfang. 2 cool synergies. Any of our creatures like Toski that don't have Death Touch will get Death Touch when they attack. Nice little synergy. And on top of that, more card draw.
Toski text. That's what they call it, right? Toski text?
Toski text. And then the best card in the entire deck. It's not even close. When you really want to go for that damage, when you're like, Poison's not good enough for this player because they have...
They deserve something worse.
No, they have Solemnity. So you can't poison them out. It sucks. It happens sometimes.
They're playing Zur. They found Solemnity.
It really sucks. So we have to use Blanchwood Armor to give our creature +7/+7 for each forest we control.
Whoa, really? That's so like if we control 7 forests, it's +49/+49.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
So it's just creature's just going to be huge.
No.
And then we want to give it lifelink so that it's going to deal a ton of damage and gain us a ton of life. Then we just attack with it and gain that life again.
Yeah. It's going to be really, really big. Don't forget, the whole point of this video, Tandem Takedown.
The star of the deck.
The star of the deck. The literal best card. Thank you again to Wizards of the Coast for this preview card. Seriously, it's awesome. It's going to be a limited all-star, and it's already banned in Commander. Sorry.
Emergency ban.
Emergency ban it right now. Sheldon, I know this is the first time you're seeing it. You have to get rid of this. It's going to be in every single green deck. Maybe people are going to be so mad that it's in every green deck, they're going to start putting it in their white decks because they're going to be like,
it's rule 0.
You're going to rule 0 because this is unfair for green decks to have such a great Magic card.
Right. And if you're wondering what other unfair deck we've brewed of a card that has been banned recently, also, you can check it out in this preview card video where we build out another entire deck.
Peace out, Tribe Scouts.